Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A very warm welcome to another episode of the Al-Muslimah. My name is Sharifa Hassan. I remember you can always chime in our conversation through our social media handle, that is LMTV on Twitter and subsequently LMTV on Instagram and Facebook. Now today we are going to talk about success and what does it really take to be a successful person despite our backgrounds and despite our differences. And joining me for this conversation is Amisa Rashid, quite brilliant and determined. My guest participated in one of the most competitive shows in Kenya, the Miss President show, and managed to be among the top 70 contestants out of the said 1,000 contestants. Let's get to hear her success story. So Amisa,
Yes.
when I was watching the Miss President show, the resilience, the determination, the fearless Anissa was very loud. Is it something that has been cultivated in you ever since you were young?
Yeah, I think I come from a background of where I was brought up very well. I thank Alhamdulillah for that. And knowing that my father brought us up as leaders, like from the word go, we've been leaders. If you see my whole family setups, my siblings, all of us are leaders. So coming out, but I've been leader at the home zone, not at the national zone. So the Miss President TV show gave me an opportunity to enable myself to see my leadership capabilities in the national frontier zone. Yeah.
So basically, you mentioned the fact that your dad cultivated this culture of leadership ever since you were young. So maybe tell us a bit about your childhood experience. How was it like growing in the slum with all those challenges?
Okay, so I am a Nubian. And being a Nubian is one of the main reasons as to why I decided to participate in the Miss President TV show. Why was that? Because I realized that we Nubians are one of the marginalized communities in Kenya. And in order for me to change this aspect, because I remember one day I was having this conversation with my dad, and I asked my dad, so how are you going to stop being marginalized? And he told me, you have to find a way, instead of complaining that you are marginalized, you have to find a way to get out of this marginalization. Right. So when this opportunity came out, I took it and grabbed with it and ran with it. Why? Because I wanted to be given an opportunity as a Nubian to show the people that, hey, we are Nubians, we are here and we exist, first of all. And that this is a way to cultivate my way to leadership, because I'm seeing that in order for us to change this level of marginalization, we need to change some of our policies. Right. And in order to change the policies, you cannot change the policies when you're seated at home. Absolutely. You have to put yourself out there. So, and I hope that doing this will enable me to get myself out there as a Nubian, because coming from Kibra, it's not easy. It's a struggle, as all informal settlement there is. But I have to do my best, and I have to inspire the rest who are with me to do their best to get wherever they can go next. Yeah.
And maybe Anissa, what are some of the challenges that pushed you to to reach greater heights, to push you to where you are? Because I understand you're not only you not only want to assume leadership, but you're also a counselor. You're also a student at the RAF International University. Basically, what are some of the challenges, and someone else maybe who lives in Kibra might relate to? What are some of the challenges that
I think one of the challenges that people come from informal settlement, we deal with is the main issue is poverty, first of all. And I think that is the main reason as to why I started doing counseling psychology, because I realized that despite people seeing that poverty, I can come, and if you see in most informal settlement, there are a lot of organization, right? So most of this organization can give me some skills, can empower me, can give me skills like financial skills, and enable me to start a business, and they're doing. Right. I cannot dispute that fact. But what I saw was the lack of mental health, lack of the mental health to know that yes, I can be given these resources and finance to take my life to a better to the next level. But if I don't have mental stability that comes from my background, because most people coming from slums, from informal settlement, they come from dysfunctional families. You have poverty to top it on top of it. You have a lot of crime rates are on the increase. Violence, abuse, like physical, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, all types of abuses. So for you to survive through that environment, I think it's courage. And when I see youth from informal settlement coming out I usually say in my mind that these are the people who, these are the flowers blossoming through the concrete, because they are really doing what they can to get out of that.
And I love the way that you took your environment positively, and you said, I'm not only going to build Anissa, but I'm also going to look at the people, the generation that is coming from that place. And that is very good of you, Anissa.
Thank you.
And maybe on the, you know, Dean, and like you're a student at RAF International University. Tell us a bit, what are you doing there, and maybe what are your aspirations after finishing RAF International University?
Okay, so I think I started RAF International University, and I would really like to thank the faculty for offering us the opportunity, because actually RAF International University has sponsored, I was under sponsorship throughout the whole season I was at RAF University, and I managed to get my degree in education, in bachelor degrees in education, Arabic and Islamic studies. And currently I'm pursuing my master's degrees in education administration at the same university. And I think that being in that environment, being enabled, because I came, actually my high school, it's a very funny story. In high school I studied at Rasul Al-Akram. So Rasul Al-Akram was...
Where is it at?
It was actually. Rasul Al-Akram was a school whereby I did my what is it called, my high school there. But if you look closely, you'll find that Rasul Al-Akram is not the, it's a Shia school. So for me, I was actually very confused with that. So I'm coming from a Shia school, so what next? So when the opportunity came, like, to clarify my deen, I really wanted to know what is Islam. And to be honest, I was tired of people telling me the Quran is saying this, the Quran is saying this. I wanted to understand this Quran by myself, so that I don't want people to be telling me do this, do this, do this, and I'm not in a position to understand what the Quran is telling me. So when the opportunity came to study Arabic and Islamic study came, I ran with it. Like, I decided, okay, this is for me. I'm going to spend whatever years it is to study Islam, to know it from the from wider perspective, so that I can able even to make judgments on myself, instead of just sitting and being told do this.
Depending on other people's
information. Exactly.
Wow, mashallah, that's quite a interesting story. So that's how you got yourself out of that, you know, that hole of, you know, this, you know, some people might come and tell you this is wrong and this is right, but it's always good when you have the knowledge. That is when you know where to balance. Is it right or wrong? Like you've said, mashallah. So Anissa, tell us, which number are you in your family? The firstborn, fifthborn?
I'm the secondborn. I am the, in my mom's side of the family, we have 4 of us. My elder brothers, my elder brother, me, my sister. I only have one sister, and my brother. So we are 4 in our family, 2 boys, 2 girls. Yeah. How
has it been for you growing up in, you know, in that kind of family, that size?
I think for me it was awesome, because first of all, I actually say, my dad passed away, but I want to be like my dad, because my dad showed me love. Like, he literally loved us to the core, his children. Okay, so for me, growing up in my family was like an adventure, because my family was to go to place whenever I needed people. My dad has always was there for me, and my mom, despite all my journey, despite all my careers and doing this and this and this, all these things, my mom is my stone rock at the moment, because he's my to-go person, he's my advisor, he's my entire support system. Yeah, so I'm grateful for that.
Alhamdulillah. Anissa, you've mentioned something very important, the fact that your dad was your support system, and then he passed away. And for me, if there's anything that is very hard to handle or deal with, is loss and grief. So how did you go through that process?
Okay, so I remember in my event, the reason as to why I actually started my organization was because I lost my dad. When I lost my dad, I went through a period of depression, and actually nobody would know. As in, people will just know it's a normal loss and grief processes, you'll get over it. But I was going down and down and down by the moment. Yeah. So, but I had to brace up, go for counseling session to deal with it. And now I'm at a happy place knowing that my dad did his part in this world, and I know definitely he's in a better place now. Yeah.
Is that where you started your mental health, journey?
Yeah, because I actually felt like youth go through a lot, and if I went through that, and I went through it alone, what about other youths? What are they going through? Even if it's not loss and grief, even if it's not many of these things that we say are the causes of mental illnesses, but what is going on through their mind at the moment. So I decided to start my organization, which is called Nivishe Initiative, Nivishe Foundation actually. So Nivishe Foundation, from the word Nivishe, we want to clothe you holistically. That means physically, emotionally, mentally, psychologically, and spiritually. So with the Nivishe Foundation, we offer free counseling services to youth who really need it. And apart from that, we do trainings, like mental awareness training. We build support groups for the youth themselves, in that if we are not there, the youth can be able to sit and support themselves by their own selves, for youth by youth. So they sit and support themselves. So that is where the idea comes from. And I can say from my organization that we have impacted so many lives, because we get calls, we get emails that if it wasn't for you, I don't think I will be able to go through this process alone, or through this alone. So I am actually, I thank God for giving me an opportunity to be able to serve people with that.
And I love that you created that platform, because I feel the most neglected people in the society are the youth, and I'm loving the way people are taking it up for themselves and just going out there and supporting them. Continue with that. And
thank you.
We'll be taking a short break, but don't go away. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to the Al-Muslimah. And if you are joining us right now, I'm here with Amisa Rashid talking about mental health issues and basically success. And what does it take for us to be successful despite our backgrounds and our differences? Amisa, before we went for the break, we were talking about the Nivishe. The fact that the Nivishe organization, the fact that you support, the youth in terms of just talking about mental, issues, mental awareness and whatnot. You've been always out there talking about mental, illnesses. Every campaign that comes, around about mental awareness, you've always been there. What are some of the common, maybe mental illnesses that you as a counselor and you've encountered? Maybe from the sharing from the interaction that you have with people.
Okay. First of all, most of the talks that I have with youth, I've realized that youth actually, there is a hype in claiming that you're depressed. So with youth, actually our Kenyan youth at the moment, so everybody with a little stress, which you need some life skills to solve, like financial skills to solve your financial life. Like you need these basic life skills to help you solve your daily stresses. But apparently youth, when they lack these skills, they claim to say that they're depressed. So when I sit with youth and we start talking about depression, you realize that everybody is depressed. But when you really talk about the meaning of depressions, what depression really means, you realize that it's just normal stresses. So I've changed my strategy actually for this year. My organization is actually dealing with creating awareness on staying mental healthy, because we believe that if I teach you how to be mental healthy, you won't have the mental illnesses. So now we are focusing on the mental health, because prevention is better than cure.
Absolutely.
And also we are actually trying to we are creating awareness as well as breaking the stigma against mental illnesses. Early this year I won the Zuri Awards, and the reason as to why I won the Zuri Award, actually Zuri Award is an award that awards exceptional women doing exceptional work in their communities. So my organization was actually focused to the Muslim women and Muslim youth specifically, because as a Muslim growing up, I've seen the mentality towards mental illnesses. Like I've been actually told that if you have stress, like you should read Quran, your iman is not high enough. So when I came to realize that a lot of people are going through that, I had to step in. Yes, I usually tell people that there is the spiritual part and there's the mental part.
Absolutely.
And sometimes they may intertwine, but most of the time they're on different aspects. So if you can be spiritually healthy and unhealthy, and you can be mentally healthy and unhealthy, and in both balancing, you have ways to deal with it. So if you are mentally unhealthy, there are specific channels that you can seek, like seeking counseling services, support groups, journaling, and all the things. So that is how it boiled down. So for our Muslim community, we are still back. We don't want to embrace mental illnesses. We don't want to embrace that there's something like mental health. You're told
that people suffer from this.
That people suffer
and
from
it's
this.
just like any other illnesses,
and
by
it
the way.
is, yeah. It's like any physical illnesses, because actually the symptoms are, most of them we can detect them physically.
Absolutely.
So before we detect the mental, it mentally, we have to see your physical reactions.
Right.
So people have to know, like our Muslim society have to wake up at the moment and realize that the mental illness is real. And we need, in order to embrace it, we need to accept it, acknowledge it, and find a way to work with it so that we can prosper from it.
And since, Amisa, you have both the knowledge of psychology and you're also a student of Deen, where can we draw the line that now I know this is not, you know, I'm not suffering from lack of spiritual, maybe, you know, power or something, and I'm suffering from emotional. And you've mentioned the issue of the physical, you know, the physical signs. Where can we draw the line? How do I know that I'm not suffering from lack of iman, like most people love to say, and I'm suffering from mental illnesses? Maybe tell us some of the signs and symptoms.
Actually, I can say that for spirituality and mental illnesses, I think there is, Islamically, we are told that spiritual and mental, we are body, soul, and mind, right?
Yes.
So they are all intertwined. One cannot work with the other. I agree with that partly, but I think the part that we have to draw the line is to know that not all mental illnesses are because of spirituality. Yeah. Sometimes I can have a mental illnesses like an example, those kids who are born with schizophrenia, those kids who have the Asperger's syndromes, like those,
bipolar.
you are born with it, you cannot control it. So yes, there is a way you have to find a way of balancing both your deen and your mental health. And most of the time when we come and draw the line is when we tell our youth that feeling this way is haram, feeling
It's
this way
wrong.
it's wrong, is when now they start developing the suicidal tendency. And actually we tell them that feeling suicidal, having those suicidal thoughts is shaitan, like you cannot. But before somebody develops the suicidal thoughts, they've gone through a phases of mental illnesses. So they have to go to a specialist to tell them which kind of mental illnesses they are suffering from, right? So we as a community, we should stop alleging everything in terms of, yes, Allah sent down the Quran to us to guide us, rahma lil alameen, but we have to know when to draw the boundary, right? Like we have to know where to draw the boundaries, mentally and physically and spiritually. We cannot say that everything that I'm feeling sad is because my iman is low. No. I'm feeling depressed because my iman is no. I'm feeling anxious because I did not read Quran or I did not read the dua. Maybe it might be the cause, but most of the time it's not the cause. So we have to know before we tell our youth that this is haram, this is this. We have to really, really sit down and know what you are telling them. Yeah.
So what you're saying is, maybe when it comes to drawing the line, you also have to have a relationship with Allah, so that when it's, you know, you're suffering from mental illnesses, you can know. If you know you're reading your Quran every day, you know you're doing your adhkar, you're praying, and then these other things come, maybe stress. You know, life is stressful. There's a lot of challenges. So you can't say you can evade that part. The only thing that you can maybe decide is, like you've said, just, you know, having skills that can make you cope. Because I think this is something that will never end.
Sure.
You have to try every single day in life. And on that note, maybe the Zuri Award, you mentioned about the Zuri Award, where you mentioned the mental health. You won the mental health awareness, you know, award. Where do you see the wind going? Do you want to venture into counseling, or do you want to venture into, you know, being an Arabic teacher or whatnot? Where do you see the wind going?
Actually, I usually tell people that I'm a jack of all trades, and my mentor is here telling me that I should pick one course and then I stick to it. But I think as I'm growing up, I'm realizing that I am passionate about youth. I am passionate about empowerment, youth empowerment. I'm passionate about development. So I'm finding a way in whereby I can integrate all my knowledge, skills,
Right.
to serve the common good of my goals. Because if one of my values is to work with humanities, like to be a humanitarian, I know I can integrate my counseling services, since I'm a professional counselor, to it. I know I can use my teaching background experiences to it to enable me to train youth. Because in order for us as a community to grow, we have to look at our youth. We youth are the epitome of the community.
Absolutely.
So if the society is not going to take care of us, we have to find ways to take care of ourselves. And
I
if I
love
can
that.
empower a youth and a youth empower a youth, the whole youth system will be empowered.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One person heals.
Everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I find a way to integrate all my knowledge, skills and experiences to serve the better good of humanity, I think I will have achieved my purpose in life. Yeah.
So maybe what are the strategies and what is in store for the youth? What programs maybe are you thinking about? Are you thinking of coming to masajids and talking about mental, you know, health issues, talking about, you know, spirituality, and maybe where does mental health and, you know, spirituality come in between?
So for me, I think I've already started. And I've been out and about working with universities, tertiary institutes, and I hope that we will make link with religious institutes so that we can go talk about these taboo topics of mental illnesses in religious setting. So with the Nivisha Foundation, we are going big now. Like nowadays we are based in Nairobi, but in the next the remaining half of the month we want to venture nationally to the whole part of Kenya. We want everybody to get the gospel of mental health awareness, mental health. Yeah.
Mashallah. Profound. Anissa, your last word. My director is telling me our time is up. I wish you could continue with this. But your final words. What's your advice to the youth? What is your advice to that mother or father that is watching us today?
I think that everything is doable. Like I cannot tell you that whatever, if you think you can do it, but I think that if you set your mind to think and have the strength to put your step forward and do anything that you're willing to do in life, you can get wherever you want to be in life. Yeah.
Profound, mashallah. Before I let you go, there's always one thing here at Al-Muslimah we do. What is the one thing that people don't know about Anissa?
I think people don't know that I'm an ambivert. I'm both super extroverted and I can be very super introverted. I love my space and I love people a lot. So that's me.
How do you balance that though?
I think it's not tricky. It's with the energy that I get around.
Right.
If I get a positive vibe, I love the people around there. If I'm tired, I just go have my space. I love reading a lot, so I'm always there reading.
What kind of books do you love reading, by the way?
I read nowadays I'm into psychological books, because I'm a psychologist professional. But I read all the genres, but I love African literature. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for making this possible. And from the entire team of the Al-Muslimah, we thank you so much for keeping us company. I've been your host, Sharifa Hassan. Till next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.